Shalom and welcome to another of our updates with Israel. Gilla, Treibich, Roy Shaposhnik, and I'm really enjoying these. For me, I keep real close tabs on what's happening in Israel, but always there are insights here that you kind of go behind the scenes. And so there's a lot that's been happening in the last few weeks here in the United States and abroad. And of course, it deals also with Israel. And so if Gila and Roy can join with me, we'll go into some of these things and do our
Hello.
best to bring you up to date.
Shalom,
So,
everybody.
and Gila,
Hi. Shalom to the viewers of GLC, friends. Wonderful to be here. Wonderful to see you. So we wanted to talk a little bit about, surely you've heard what happened with the hostage release last week. It was shocking. 3 guys came, they were emaciated. They're in terrible shape. And people felt and said here that they look like survivors of Auschwitz. It was really quite horrible. I think that everybody felt it, including, it's amazing to us, but you know, President Trump is following very closely what's going on here. And he, a day later, came up and said, that can't continue. I want everybody out now by Saturday, next Saturday. It's 12 o'clock. I want everybody out now. Now, this is a little vague because what does he mean? Does he mean all the hostages? Does he mean the ones that were supposed to come out on Saturday? Does he mean that all of the ones that are in the first phase of the release? Hamas reacted in a strange way. They said they're stopping all negotiations and they're stopping the release of the hostages. So that was a response of President Trump. I want all the hostages out now, otherwise all hell will break out. So we're waiting to see now. On Friday, they're supposed to give us the names of the next 3 hostages. And then they should come out on Saturday. So we're all waiting to see what will happen exactly and what, there's all kinds of guesses on what Hamas will do and what they won't do and what the reaction will be. So this is where we are at this point with the hostages.
I just want to elaborate, with your permission. I think based on the fact that those 3 guys that went out, it was the first time that we got firsthand witnesses and intel from those hostages who gave a lot of information about the situation, the conditions of the other hostages that we wasn't aware for almost 500 days.
Right.
For example, the information that we've got about 9 different men, young people that were in a huge question mark about their conditions, mainly due to the fact that Hamas refused to release any kind of information. All of a sudden, we've managed to get that intel, and the IDF released this information to those families. So we know that there are 9 more people that we had a very big question mark around them. We know now that they are alive. And yes, we are fully aware of the condition, mainly due to the fact that we saw the situation of those 3 who went out last Saturday.
And apparently they were fed big amounts in the last 10 days of the week before they came out, just so that they can stand on their feet.
Is
Because
it that dangerous for
some of them, I beg your pardon?
well, first off, a person that has been
Yeah,
starved, it's
very
dangerous to
dangerous,
feed them too much
very
food.
dangerous, very dangerous. Yeah.
And how are they doing?
Look,
Are they responding well?
they have good care. They have good care. They're all in the hospital. They all have their private suites so their family can come and stay with them.
Uh-huh.
And they're getting the best care, you know, the best tests, the best care, everything medically that Israel knows how to do.
Look, we all need to
So,
remember, um, from physical point of view, I have no doubt that the Israeli medical system
mm,
will do their best and they will be fine. We all need to remember we have one of them, for example, who got released, Yossi Sharabi, his wife and his two daughters murdered. Um, Eli Sharabi, sorry, not Yossi. We
mm,
all need to remember that from not the physical point of view, but from the mentally health point of view, is in a very big issue. It's going to take a lot of time until he will be able to recover. Not to mention about Yarden Bibas, we spoke about it in our previous conversation. But again, that is a challenge, and I think that's going to be the majority of um, the issues that we are going to face in the near coming releases, because it's going to be something that is going to be very big.
yeah.
And
Just, you know, you saw that when the hostages were released, the Hamas staged this horrible, this show of horror, and they made Yossi Sharabi say that he's really looking forward to meeting his wife and daughters, and they knew that they were not alive, and they were
true,
standing there, Hamas, and giggling.
true.
I mean, it's like cruelty beyond belief.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we've got the hostage release. At least 3 prisoners coming this weekend, or captives, hostages.
Right. Right.
Uh, uh, Everything's kind of iffy here because you don't know what's going to happen. So, what are the preparations that are being done in case everything turns south and it doesn't come out as
Collapses, everything.
yeah.
So, Joe, let me tell you what happened on Monday. On Monday, when Hamas announced that he's not going to commit the next stage of the deal, which is this coming Saturday, um, our brigade, 188 Brigade, as other brigades and other divisions, immediately announced on a curfew, meaning that nobody leaves the base, nobody goes anywhere, and we are going, as we call it, back to basic. We
Mm.
moved our troops back into the border and started to plan how we are taking over the areas that we have left 24 hours ago. I'm talking with you Monday.
Yes.
And the main thing right now is literally to take over Gaza Strip again, which
Yeah.
means the Netzarim corridor split Gaza to two from north to south, and this time going very, very heavily and deep in the areas that we haven't touched, such Dir Nabala, Khan Yunis itself. Those are areas that Israel, because of the previous administration in United States, we left it untouched. Uh, Not, I mean, we didn't do anyone a favor. We just announced together that those going to be areas that we are not going to attack. And today we literally see how we are going to attack and how we are going to demolish it. I have
Mm.
to tell you that thanks to President Trump, we have received in the last 21 days, a heavily amount of weapons that were forbidden,
Held back, held
held
back
back. We have
by
received a lot of ammunition, a lot of spare parts. I can tell you that Israel army is back on his feet finally, like we were before the 7th of October. I think it's
Roe.
important.
There's also reserves recruited, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the reserves are also recruited. So it's
So
not just that the regular army went
true,
back down to the border, but they
true.
also recruited all the reserves.
So I
So
think in this specific scenario, we know exactly what we need to do, how we're going to do it. Now, if you ask my personal opinion, it's not matter if it will happen or not. It's only a matter of when.
Yes.
when,
Yeah. So things will start to unfold at least within a week.
right,
Come this
right.
weekend and the hostage release and whether you go forward with the original plan or all of that scrapped and uh, uh, basically what President Trump said, all hell's unleashed against Hamas once again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Um,
I think the mood in Israel is to continue with this phase
Yeah.
because the idea is to get as many hostages back as possible.
Right. Right. Especially seeing, the firsthand of how the hostages are faring, the physical condition, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that people can see they've been held back from food, but what they're not seeing is the relentless
Torture.
torture and so forth that's also accompanying it. All right. Well, now what about the plan that President Trump put forward about emptying Gaza of the Palestinians, going to Jordan and Egypt? What's the latest on that?
so I think President Trump did something which I think is brilliant, and I will explain. Everybody says no. Everybody says Israel. Everybody blames us. Everybody goes and accusing that Israel is doing that, Israel is doing this, and everything. It's the first time, and I am 45 years old. It's the first time since I remember myself that I hear someone says, "Hey, world, what do you recommend? What do you suggest to do?" Now, Trump came with an idea. Whether it's a good idea or a bad idea, that is not the topic of our discussion. He came with an idea. Now, it's about time that the realistic world, the European Union that pushed so much money into Gaza, into the Palestinian, it's about time that the Arab League, those 23 countries, nations that support Palestine all the time, the Palestinian, but like verbally, come, give us a solution. And I think this is now a crucial moment where Trump is saying literally to everybody, I am calling your bluff. Either you are coming with something real, or you know
No.
what? This is my idea, and that's what I'm going to do.
You know, one of the ideas that came up that I don't know if it was a joke or what, Qatar held the World Olympics last year or 2 years ago. Yeah.
The
Now
soccer
they're
game.
this right the soccer the World Cup, the World Soccer Cup. Now the entire Olympic Village, the whole village is empty, and there's room there and housing there for several hundred of thousands of people. And people say, why don't Palestinians move in there? And Qatar is the
Gilla,
big
it's the same.
protector of the
It's the
Palestinians.
same that they approached to Norway and told them, guys, take the Palestinian.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
immediately say, oh, no, no, no. But
Hey,
to
I
go
know, I
against
know.
Israel and the terrible things, so-called, that Israel is doing to the Palestinian, that's easy for the Norway people to say.
Now, my understanding
Yes.
is that both Jordan and Egypt said, no way that the Palestinians are coming here. Uh, I also understand that in Egypt, in the Sinai Peninsula, they had a military exercise, but they have continued to increase their troop strength, and just being there violates the peace accord between Israel and Egypt. Am I
Yeah.
correct?
So the peace agreement between Israel and Egypt says that Egypt is not allowed to hold any kind of an armory vehicle, such as tanks, um, north than the Suez Canal. And Israel is not allowed to put any kind of tanks and military equipment 3 kilometers from the border between, sorry, from the border between Israel and Egypt. Now, what's happening right now is a very simple thing. We all know that Israel is in Gaza for the last almost 500 days. The Egyptians are saying, hold on, you guys are violating the peace agreement because you're putting military less than 3 kilometers from the border, the Philadelphia lane, and
Yeah, the Philadelphia.
gate and the cross
Yeah,
border, yes.
the crossing, right.
And therefore, we are not obligated anymore to the peace agreement. We are not canceling the peace agreement, but we are allowing ourselves to move troops over there. Um, I have to tell you that it's becoming a kind of a concern
Yes.
in one hand, because it's like you are allowing them to do things that you never dreamed in the past to do. On the other hand, Joe, all of a sudden, why not let the Egyptian deal with the terrorist activity that is in the Sinai desert? Let them deal with ISIS, let them deal with Iran, let them deal with all of those crazy terrorist organizations that are trying to smuggle weapons, prostitute, drugs into Gaza and into Israel. So, you can say, why not? The question is, who is going to put all of that on hold and on what reason? Because the Americans obviously are allowing Israel right now to violate the peace agreement because of Gaza. I am not sure that they will allow too much to the Egyptian to do it. And I think it's going to come into a point that we will have a kind of arm wrestle between President Sisi and Prime Minister Netanyahu.
All right. Two
And
questions.
President Trump,
Yeah, right.
because
Yes, of
President
course.
Trump was because the Sisi, President Sisi was supposed to go to America, and he said he's postponing it. He just doesn't remember that the U.S. has a much, much bigger leverage on him. I'm sure that he knows that President Mubarak, his regime fell apart because President Obama completely cut down the aid, and that brought the whole regime down.
And we all need to remember, Gila, but because
Yeah.
of that, they moved to get a support from Russia. And when things started to get bad in Syria, the support to Russia stopped immediately. So the
Yeah,
Egyptians are also right now in the middle of a conflict, even though there
right.
is some intel that they are going to get a weapon and armory from the Chinese. Now that's also
Yeah, they
something
already
that,
did. They already got some planes. Yeah,
true.
but the Chinese are not going to pay for their food. They're not going to give them the money that the U.S. has been giving them as aid, not just weapons,
True.
but
And we
food.
all need to remember one important thing. Egypt has their own serious war with Ethiopia. The main
Ethiopia.
reason is on the water, the Nice River, the dam, and that is their main headache. They don't want to start anything with Israel. They kind of forced to do those things. And we all also, please remember, they lost 85% of their income
Yep.
because of the Houthim and
Because of
the
the
end
Suez
trade
Canal.
and the
Yes, right.
Suez Canal.
Yeah,
I,
right.
I have a question. You mentioned that about Egypt dealing with the terrorists such as ISIS and all of these various uh, uh, terrorist groups. Have they been doing it?
So before the 7th of October, there was a very important joint activity between United States, Israel, and
And
Egypt.
Egypt.
When Egypt didn't do much with their army, but, and I'm going to tell a small secret over here to the audience, they allowed Israel to use UAVs and to take out those small terrorist organizations by using military activity from the air, and it was literally Israeli one. Guys, I'm not revealing any secrets over here. It was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
well
But
published. But right now they have moved their own troops, meaning they have people on the ground.
Right. Now, what's the situation with Jordan?
Did you saw the body language of the king?
I missed that interview and I wanted to see it.
Listen, shocking,
it's too bad. It's too bad.
shocking.
Especially when you compare the welcome that Netanyahu received.
I think that he is scared, he is terrified. If he's going to get Palestinian in Jordan, meaning from Gaza, he's losing he's losing the kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
he's
is
losing his
terrified.
regime.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, all right. Let me switch theaters. I mean, Israel has so many theaters. Okay, 7 theaters that you're actively involved in warfare. Okay, so Judea,
Right,
Samaria.
right.
Still a
So,
big
what's
headache.
the situation there?
Still a big headache. 5 hours ago, the Golani Brigade took out a vehicle from Jenin that was on the way to do a suicide bomb in Israel.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Five
It's five
hours ago.
hours ago. This is breaking
Five
news.
hours
Then.
ago.
Right.
And
Right.
thanks to the intel of our Shin Bet, we have managed to take it off.
Yeah.
Very sensitive. They are talking about an average of 10 10 alerts, heavily alerts per day that are coming from that area. We need to remember that last week we had a very sad terrorist activity against one of the checkposts in Israel, and we had 2 soldiers that got killed. Look,
Yeah.
we are witnessing history in
In the
its making.
making.
In
Yeah.
the
In the
making.
making. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
see it in Syria. We see the Turkish trying to build their own facility over there. We see Iran trying to build their own foot in the ground in the West Bank, Judea, Samaria. We see the Egyptian, as we spoke earlier. Everything is coming towards us.
Right.
However, I can tell you one important thing. Yesterday, we were privileged to be in one of the biggest parades that the 188 Brigade did and to symbolize the end of the defense mission in Gaza. And I saw yesterday 4,000 soldiers standing
Wow.
bravely with
Wow.
gear up. And next time next week, I will share the footage of that
Great.
and talking about the situation. You know, Joe, one of them said a very young officer. He said something. We are on the top of the blue arrow. Now, if you think about it in a military way, the blue arrow means where we as Israel attacking.
Right,
And he said,
right,
we are
right,
the
right.
top.
Our
We
forces,
are
yeah,
at the edge. And you know
yeah.
what? Hearing that, seeing those amazing soldiers is telling me only one important thing. And it was written on your shirt 2 weeks ago.
Israel
Am,
High.
Am Israel Chai.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
Yeah.
I saw BB on the Fox News program Mark
Uh-huh.
Levin, and one of the things that impressed me, he was talking about the amazing warriors of the Israeli army, and that uh, at one point he mentioned that uh, the Biden administration said if you attack such and such, we're stopping all arms shipments. And uh, BB's response was, "Then we'll fight with our fingernails." And it's just an amazing thing. How can such a small country and an army that is so numerically outnumbered, with the enemies having total support all over the place, uh, how are you able to fight on all of these fronts and remain with this attitude of the people of Israel live?
You
It
remember, you remember what Golda Meir used to say? We have a secret. We have nowhere to go.
Yeah. Well, listen, y'all, we've run down to the bottom of our time here. But I do want to ask people, please, you're here. These problems are not disappearing, they are right on the win. Will it happen? So if you would like to donate to the soldiers, go to JerusalemTempleStudy.com, David Fund. You can go to the little icon, scan that, and please support. Uh,
Mhm.
we need the help right now.
Your help has been precious. It was invaluable. It was it's amazing.
It
It's
is.
just you can't believe how helpful it is and how
That it,
encouraging it is. Yeah.
yes. And the fact that there is that support encourages the soldiers to go on and to do the best.
You cannot even imagine how much it helps us. It helps us with the gear, it helps us with the spirit, it helps us with everything. And once again, as I say it every day, thank you. Toda rabah. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Shalom, everyone.